Good evening. Breaking news. I'm Ashley Banfield in for Aaron Burnett tonight in Newtown, Connecticut. It is the scene of one of the worst school shootings in the history of the United States. And we can report for you that police have now identified a school shooter as Adam Lanza, a shooter who killed 26 people today at the Sandy Hook Elementary School here in this small Connecticut town. 20 children were killed. 18 of them were pronounced dead right at the scene of the school. 2 of them were rushed to the hospital, hoping that they could save them. Those children died at the hospital. 6 adults at the school were also shot dead, and they died at the scene as well. Nancy Lanza, a teacher at the school and the mother of the suspected shooter, was also killed, but she was found dead in her son's home in Newtown. Adam Lanza, the 24-year-old brother, Ryan Lanza, was taken into police custody. Ryan Lanza taken into police custody for questioning in Hoboken, New Jersey earlier today. Officials have not labeled him a suspect, but he was taken away in handcuffs. His brother Adam died at the scene, but police are not saying at this point if he killed himself. Police did say that they did not discharge any of their weapons, and yet he was dead on the scene. A law enforcement source is also telling CNN that the shooter in this horrible tragedy was dressed in, quote, black battle fatigues and a military vest. The principal of this school, Dawn Hochsprung, was also among the dead. The school psychologist also killed in this shooting rampage in a meeting at the time the shooting began. The children were led away from the school this morning shortly after the first 911 calls came in. That began at 9:40 this morning, just after school had begun. Those shootings occurred in one section of the school, concentrated in one area, specifically 2 rooms in an area of the school. As the nation tuned in only to see detail after detail get worse, it is a nation in mourning. And tonight, there is a vigil outside the White House. The President Obama, ordering flags to fly at half-staff nationwide in a tribute to the victims of this terrible tragedy. An extraordinarily emotional president addressed the nation this afternoon.
I know there's not a parent in America who doesn't feel the same overwhelming grief that I do. The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. They had their entire lives ahead of them. Birthdays, graduations, weddings, kids of their own.
The president incredibly emotional as he addressed reporters in the nation as these horrible details became more and more evident moment by moment today. My colleague Susan Candiotti has been working not only the scene of the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary, but also police sources throughout this community as well. You've been able to find out some remarkable information throughout the day.
Well, it really has been stunning throughout the day to try to figure out a motive in this shooting, and we still don't know that the answer to that very important question right now. As you indicated, Ashley, what we are finding out is a little bit about this shooter, but not much, only that he was dressed in black military fatigues and a military-type vest. We also know that they discovered at least 3 weapons on the scene, 2 handguns, and
in fact, a Glock,
right,
a Sig Sauer, and a Bushmaster 223.
Exactly. Now, the Bushmaster 223 is a semi-automatic weapon, and we have pictures of that to show you the type of weapon it is, not the weapon in question, of course. But now we have yet to find out, for example, where those weapons came from. Were they legally purchased? Were they stolen? To whom were they registered? Where did they come from?
In fact, we've had some breaking news just in the last while that, in fact, those weapons, at least, I believe, 2 of them, were registered to the mother, Nancy Lanza. It's a very distressing detail, but
it is indeed.
At least 2 of those weapons, in fact, let me change that. At least 3 of the weapons registered to Nancy Lanza.
And of course, her body was found at a residence right here in the area.
This is an odd development because Susan and I have been trying to piece together when the police said that the shooter killed someone he lived with. And then we've now found out that Nancy Lanza was found in her son's home.
Exactly.
Putting two and two together, you'd want to come to a conclusion, but they are not releasing that.
And it may very well be the mother's home. When they say the suspect's residence, well, it may very well be where both of them live together. And so that, again, makes one wonder, well, what prompted all of this? Was there something going on? It's hard not to speculate.
The confusion as well, Susan, throughout the day, the name Ryan Lanza was being reported fast and furiously. This is the brother who was taken away in handcuffs from the apartment in Hoboken for questioning, not under arrest and not a suspect.
That's right.
But for a long time, people were suspecting that Ryan Lanza might be the shooter, not the shooter, according to police.
That's right. There was conflicting information even among law enforcement authorities for hours now. Finally, it seems to be sorted out that, in fact, it is Ryan, as you said, who was led away for questioning, not considered a suspect, but they wanted to find out what they could about his brother.
Do we know anything about this family? I mean, the police have said that apparently Adam Lanza did not have a criminal record, and yet this is one of the most horrific crimes perpetrated in the most horrific way. Do we know anything else about the family dynamics?
Well, we have been learning more about a bit about the brother, Adam, the shooter in this case, but we are still trying to get that confirmed with additional sources before we put that out officially. But we do know, for example, that the father of both of them was divorced from Nancy Lanza, the school teacher, and the boy's mother.
And did not live at this residence.
The father did not live at this residence, but in fact he has remarried and does live in this area of Newtown, Connecticut as well. So they've been talking to him, obviously, as well, to try to find out what information, if any, he may have, what clues, if any, he might possibly have had that led to this.
It's remarkable, the amount of information that keeps pouring in. So I'm going to let you work your sources. I know you've been on the phone hour after hour. Susan Candiotti doing a terrific job at trying to piece together how this has all been happening. I want to take us now to Jason Carroll, my colleague, who is not far away from me here in Newtown, Connecticut, out in front of the St. Rose of Lima Church, where a vigil is taking place. Can you set the scene for me there, Jason, please?
Well, as you can imagine, it's a very somber scene, and so many people here had tried to come out for this vigil. You can see behind me, there wasn't enough room for everyone inside the church. Hundreds of people packed inside the church and hundreds more outside the church. Right now, we're told Governor Malloy is speaking inside the church. A little earlier today, actually, I had the opportunity to speak with the deacon here, and like so many people in this community, he knew some of the victims, some of the children that lost their lives. Those were the same children that he used to stare at and see in the church every Sunday. Some of these children had their first communion here. He knew the school faculty. Some of the faculty came here to this church as well. And during a very emotional moment, I just want you to listen to part of the conversation that we had a little earlier about how all of this has affected him and the community.
This is a very tight-knit community. It's a very large parish, a dynamic parish. Everybody knows everybody here. And I don't know for sure, but I'm sure that quite a few of the kids that we lost today are in this parish. I heard one of the victims, I'm not sure about it, but I heard that one of the victims, recently I think it was like birthday money. She gathered up her birthday money, her birthday gifts, and she donated it to the parish to give for the Hurricane Sandy victims. She's 6 years old. So that makes it very, very personal and very intimate.
Personal for him and also painful, and not just for the deacon here, but for the hundreds of people that are packed inside the church and again outside the church, as you can see here, listening, trying to find some sort of comfort. The deacon also told me, Ashley, that throughout the day that he was counseling some 100 people who had come through the church doors looking for answers, just asking questions. And the big question, as you can imagine, most people that were coming in and asking was why all of this happened. And he said because of the newness of it all, he said that it was impossible to find a way to say something profound. But he did refer to one quote. He said, when everyone comes in and they ask me why, I put my arms around them and I say, asking why some questions are only meant for God to answer. Little comfort, but that's all they can do at this point, trying to provide comfort as everyone here tries to get through this very painful moment. Ashley?
It's just an extraordinary time, and I can't imagine how they're going to find that comfort so soon after this has happened. Jason Carroll reporting for us live just across town from where I am right now. This has become a multi-state investigation. Police were searching a home in Hoboken, New Jersey earlier on today and ultimately took 24-year-old Ryan Lanza in for questioning. He was handcuffed as they led him away. He is believed to be the brother of the suspected shooter. They are not saying at this time he's a suspect in anything, just that he's wanted for questioning. My colleague John Berman is live in Hoboken. Tell me exactly what the police think any connection might be and why he would have been handcuffed, John.
Oh, you know, Ashley, at this point, we simply don't know. As you say, this has been the site of an enormous amount of activity, an enormous amount of questions, and now an enormous amount of confusion, really. You talked about that picture we saw earlier of Ryan Lanza being led from this apartment in handcuffs. He was taken in for questioning. Also, CNN has learned, taken in for questioning, two roommates, apparently, of Ryan Lanza, brought in for questioning. They are not believed to be connected in any way to the suspect, Adam Lanza. The Hoboken police were here. Jersey City police were here. There was a bomb squad here. FBI were here. The FBI actually removed some materials from this apartment, including perhaps a computer. But at this point, it is now clear that the shooter was not Ryan Lanza. It was his brother, Adam Lanza. Ryan, we believe, is still in custody. But I can tell you this, Ashley. While this scene was buzzing earlier with all those law enforcement officials, it is much, much quieter now. This street had been closed down. Now it's wide open. Just a few token police standing outside the apartment building where Ryan Lanza lives. It's a Ryan Lanza lives. It's a five-story apartment building, 2- and 3-bedroom apartments. Hoboken, you know, it's a hip city right now. A lot of people with young families here. Young people live here often, work in New York City. Ryan Lanza, 24. We don't know a whole lot about him. We still believe he is in custody, but not apparently the shooter, as had been reported for a long time today. Ashley?
Would be devastating for that family, undoubtedly. John Berman live in Hoboken for us. Obviously, when this started to transpire, the alarm bells went off throughout the district here, and the entire school district went into lockdown. The reaction was swift, and the actions of the teachers throughout this district were serious. Renee Byrne is one of those teachers. She's a kindergarten teacher's aide at one of Newtown's other elementary schools, Holly Elementary School, and she knew some of the teachers at Sandy Hook Elementary as well. Her school, as I said, was in lockdown a couple of hours, actually, following the shooting. Renee, thank you for coming and talking to us tonight, and I know you're with your husband, Kevin, as well. Could you just take me inside your school and tell me how this day unfolded for you and when you ultimately found out why you were in lockdown?
It started out as a normal day. We had our holiday party scheduled for our kindergarten class, which was scheduled to start about 10:15, and about 9:45 we heard the announcement that we were in lockdown.
Did you think this would be a drill?
I knew it wasn't a drill because we had about 60 parents scheduled to come into the school for our celebration, and I knew there was something going on, but never thought it was anything like this. The last time we went into a lockdown was because there was something to do with a bank holdup in town, and just as a matter of course, they shut down the schools.
So when this happened, what did you do right away?
We kept all the kids calm and quiet, and we closed our doors, and we were able to move about within the school, but no one was to go in or out.
Were you getting any text messages or emails from family or friends?
It started almost immediately. Yeah. People wanted to know what was happening, and we had no information. We couldn't go on the internet. Couldn't take phone calls.
You weren't allowed to take phone calls at this time?
Well, we were taking our cell phone calls, but no regular phone calls were coming in and out of the school. And I knew something was up when my son called me from New York and wanted to know what was going on. And at that point, we had no information.
This is a small community, and you knew some of the teachers, or you certainly do know some of the teachers at Sandy Hook.
All of our teachers, it's such a small community. We know all the teachers. One of our teachers actually had a daughter in kindergarten at Sandy Hook School, so we were frantic.
And is that child
She's okay.
accounted for?
She's
Oh, I'm so
okay.
glad.
Thank God, she's okay. But we didn't know that for quite a while.
For how long was she unaware and couldn't leave the school?
He couldn't leave the school, and he couldn't call the school, and we had no information. It was a good 2 hours into it.